So by bringing people to that virtual platform, I was able to engage them in a true dialogue because they come with no political agenda to it. And what they face the grainy image of the internet coming to them because there was a camera on top of the gun, and then a chat room when they could talk to other people. And sure, 1 month later, 80 million hits on the website. 65,000 shots of the paintball were fired at me from 136 countries. And to me, that the dialogue I create, that was what I was looking for, is the engagement and the dialogue, not another art piece.
Can you explain the controversy that just blew up at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute at RPI, upstate New York?
So in 2008, I was invited to a part of the program that raised awareness about Arabs and Islam at RPI. And I engaged with their students in a few projects. But then at the end, I was supposed to put a show, and I proposed a show, and a show called The Night of Bush Capture and Virtual Jihadi. And what I learned about a video game in 2005 called The Night of Bush Capture, and apparently that video game was released by Al-Qaeda. And in the game, it's a first shooter. In the game, you shoot Americans, and at the end, you are face to face with President Bush, and you shoot him, you kill him, or he could kill you. So I was intrigued by the game, just like we know of Al-Qaeda, these guys in caves introduce a video game sophisticated as well as the American Army or any games that's released by the Army to recruit people. I downloaded the game, didn't know what to do with it until 2008 when I proposed that show to RPI. And what I did, I took the game, I hacked it, and I put myself as the dispensable virtual jihadi suicide bomber, Iraqi, who was outraged by the death of his brother and then the death of his father, and he decided to become a suicide bomber. But he doesn't act on his own. The first shooter has to send him to blow himself next to President Bush. It didn't go well. RPI, even though it's a video game, and everybody understands it's a video game. RPI and President Shirley Ann Jackson decided to cancel the show. That's not before the FBI, the CIA, and the Homeland Security, all of them showed at the opening night. What was shocking to me is this: the game was not put out by Al-Qaeda. What Al-Qaeda did, the game was put out by an American software game developer. And the objective of the original game is to go hunt for Saddam. And in the process, you face Iraqi face to face, and you shoot them. And Iraqis, all of them, have only one face, Saddam face. And then at the end, you kill Saddam. At that time, and that was 2003, no objection to the game at all. They're okay, they're dispensable, they're others. You could shoot them, but only when I was able to bring the game I hacked, and the game act as a mirror. Now, the hunter become the hunted. Only then it was objectable. Only then people in the United States, officials, and some other people objected the game, because all of a sudden, the gun is turned against us, even it is virtual.
So this wasn't an Al-Qaeda game that you downloaded from the internet. This was an American game that was going after Saddam Hussein and any Iraqi having his face.
After the game was the original game called just Saddam, Quest for Saddam, was released. What Al-Qaeda did 2 years later, they went into the asset folder and they changed the skin. So that was changing just a simple thing in a game, just the skin outrage people. And I wanted to bring the dialogue about it is not okay. It's a video game. You say it's a video game, so why my video game was not okay? If you say this is okay, it's just a video game kids played. But it's not. When you subject other culture in literature, in even a simple thing as a video game, what you're doing, you are brainwashing youth and tell them it is okay to attack other culture.
You grew up in Iraq under Saddam Hussein. Talk about the kind of art you produced in Iraq under Saddam, and describe the atmosphere of growing up in Iraq under Saddam.
I grew up like many Iraqis at the beginning when the revolution took place. Everybody was happy, thought finally Iraq going to be for Iraqis, not for another foreign entity. But slowly, unfortunately, Saddam took over, and by the age of 13 or so, Iraq war started when Saddam attacked Iran, and that war lasted about 8 years. During that time, freedom was confiscated, and as a young kid, I slowly start seeing how oppressed the entire society is. And slowly I start engaging in political dialogue, but through the medium of art. And I kept producing artwork that is critical of the regime. At the beginning was just photographing neighborhood and then painting them realistically and show them. That didn't go well because the regime did not want that picture to be broadcasted. They didn't want that to show the other side of destroyed Iraq. Then I slowly start moving into more abstract artwork, when really not even painting, just taking chains and wrap them around the canvas and put them up, and that didn't go very well as well.
What was the reaction of the regime?
The reaction, they would send 2-3 people to escort me either outside the school or escort me to the security office, which was on campus. And by the way, there was a security office on campus and on every campus, and 1 to 2 people in every classroom watching the rest of us. And sometimes an entire show would disappear. I would come back to the gallery and there is none left of the show. And then I have to go and being interrogated for an entire day, answering the regime questions and the nature of the show. Fortunately, abstract work it has this duality when we could just say, no, it doesn't mean this, it means this.
And describe how and why you left Iraq.
So the last trouble I got into the regime of Saddam, it was 1990 when Saddam invaded Kuwait. And at that year, in the fall of the year, the regime came to schools to asking us to volunteer to go to Kuwait and fight. I was one of the students who disagreed, but I was the one, and with other people, who stood and said, no, I don't believe this. I am not going to volunteer. And I know from that moment I was blacklisted and I had to be on the run. So I started running from Baghdad, made it to Najaf, and that's now 91 when an uprising took place after the Gulf War. And during that uprising, unfortunately, the United States gave the green light for Saddam to crush the uprising. And again, I was on the move, and I did not stop until I reached the border with Kuwait, when I stayed there with American troops for 45 days before I was transferred to Saudi Arabia refugee camp for 2 years.